Hi, I'm Martin and welcome to Upgrade Your Day, the podcast. Like we do with clothes, I don't know if you ever do it, every now and then you go, right, let's get the whole wardrobe out and let's just have a look at what I've got here. Then you suddenly realise you've got 12 t-shirts the same size and some of them have got stains on, but you thought, I'll keep that in case I paint a wall one day and I need a painting t-shirt.
I haven't painted a wall for about 20 years.
But I bet you got a t-shirt ready for it.
I have, yeah.
So today we start a little bit different today because I wanted to catch up with my lovely friend Jules from Brighton. She did an episode a little while ago and we've been sea swimming together. So we did a bit of the cold water swimming. Lots of lovely things we talked about last time with regards to Upgrade Your Day and drama because she is a fellow performer like myself. However, I'd sort of not got round to thinking about what we wanted to talk about, what we were going to upgrade our day with. So we start this conversation not really knowing where it's going to go. And very, very quickly, we set ourselves decluttering. So this is a completely natural way into what we decided to talk about today. I hope you enjoy it. It's always great hearing her wise words of advice. I absolutely love her. She's such a dear friend. So please enjoy a little bit of decluttering with Jules from Brighton. I'm just going to go for it. We should say to my lovely listeners that we have no idea what we're going to talk about today, but I wanted to get my lovely friend Jules back because I haven't seen her since episode 4 of season 1. Makes it sound like we're on Netflix. Let's get her back for a good catch up because we do need to talk a few things today that you've been up to recently. And we've got no title for this podcast, so let's see what happens, shall we?
Can we call it the Untitled Podcast?
Upgrade your day with being untitled. Oh, hang on, Jules.
Upgrade your day untitled.
Untitled. Being what does it mean if you're untitled?
Being untitled.
Untitled.
Oh, Martin, there's a whole... Now you're opening up a can of worms. What
Untitled.
is it to be untitled?
You don't have a title.
You don't have a title, but this is a really right. Are you ready?
You went West Country then, right?
I'm about to stand on my soapbox.
Oh, here we go.
Very interesting. No, it's very interesting. When I first moved to Brighton,
right?
Bear with, callers. Bear with. Because I'm not married, and I don't have a house. I don't have a car. And there was a very interesting thing when I first came here, when I went to certain parties and things, that people found it very, very difficult to, like, they go, oh, are you married? And I go, no. And do you have a house? No, I don't have a house. Do you have a car? No, I don't have a car. What's your job? Oh, well, I'm an actor, I'm freelance, I'm a voice coach. Oh, they just didn't get it. They just didn't. I couldn't be placed anywhere. I was untitled, and I think people feel unsafe with that sometimes. They like to put you in a box. They like yes. They like to be able to describe you. Maybe does that make us feel safe if we can go, oh yeah, this person is this. They have this many children. They have this dog. They have this. They do this job. Yeah. Well, I think as a job, we get that quite a lot, don't we, as performers, because people sort of, it's that old cliche, isn't it? Of like, oh, what do you do for your proper job? What's your proper work? There's always that kind of element of what we do. And you're like, oh, yeah. No, I pay all my bills by performing or doing this or whatever it may be. And people can't get their head around that. I don't know. No. I don't know what that is. But I actually think as well in the past, I probably have on social media overshared just sort of like having like the dogs or being married in a sense of, oh, look, I'm sort of like I'm actually putting myself in a box. To give yourself, not status as such, but to give yourself a position in society. To be like everyone else, coming from a gay man like myself who has spent many years not feeling like part of everyone else. Yeah. So a sense of belonging.
Ooh.
And that's also interesting. We were talking earlier about that sense of belonging in terms of can we find that ourselves? Can we
Yeah.
give ourselves a sense of belonging without having to belong to other people? Does that
Yes.
make sense?
Yes, because even if you
Can
don't
we?
own your own home, you don't own a house, it's still your home.
Yes, absolutely. It's
It,
still a place that you consider your base or the kind of core of your life.
and your home could be, if we're comparing, your home could be more of a home than somebody that owns a house. Do you know what I mean by that?
Yeah,
It could
yeah.
feel more
It's about your
loved.
attachment to it.
Yeah, more loved, more lived in. I guess in a way, like more stuff. Like I know our house is full of stuff. We have so much stuff, and Bruce is constantly telling me to declutter and get rid of things. But actually, all these little bits and bobs have been collected over the years, and sometimes you're a bit sort of blind to it, aren't you? It's kind of like your subconscious. You just forget things are on shelves and so on. But everything has a little bit of a story. Everything has a little bit of a something or another. And then some of my friends' houses, they're like empty. They're just empty. You know, sofa, table, TV, and they like things clean and there's nothing in it. Not my cup of tea. Nothing wrong with that. But does that make mine more of a home than theirs? I don't know.
But also, that's really interesting, the thing about belongings, things that belong to us and what they mean to us. Because I think, you talk about decluttering, it's sometimes really hard to declutter if everything does have, oh, but so and so gave me this and there's this. And it's interesting. My mum has always said if there was a fire in the house, grim, but if there was, the things that she would take are like little ornaments or pictures. They're pictures of the family and they're ornaments. She wouldn't take, it's not like, oh, I'd take our computer or I'd make sure I got our passports. They're little things that mean a lot to her in terms of they hold memories or they came from somewhere, a family member or. So it's quite interesting what we put importance on, isn't it? In terms of
yes, because as long as everybody was safe, what would you take from your home? Because actually, I'm just sat in my spare bedroom. I call it an office, or I call it my meditating room, but it's basically just a junk room. I said I'm going to the meditating room. Bruce is like, what?
where's that?
Do you mean the absolute tip of a spare room that you need to tidy? Yeah, that's the one. Anyway, I must admit, what would I actually take if I had to? And I think I could safely say nothing, actually.
Yeah, I don't know what I take. I mean,
Because
the practical side of me that goes, I take my passport and my driving license and all those things that are going to be really difficult. No, but
I know, yeah.
those are the things that, because again, we're kind of talking about identity. What
Yeah.
gives you your identity? And
Yeah.
actually, in a practical form, my passport and my driver's license, and those will be the things when I go, I need a bed for the night. I will be able to prove who I am.
Yeah.
Obviously, won't be able to prove my address because
Yeah.
my house will be burnt down. But or do you take something that's of sentimental value? Or, like you say, do you take nothing because actually you can't choose?
No, even things that I have, my mum passed on a little churn that I was given when I was born from my nan. And, oh God, this is going to sound awful.
What do you mean, like a churn?
Like a cider churn. I am from
churn?
the West Country.
I think you meant like a butter churn.
No, like a...
We got a butter
like a mug.
churn.
Yes. Hello,
Did
little
the
boy
cow
new
come
to the
with it,
world.
Martin?
Here's a butter churn.
Did
Just
the
what I
cow come with
need.
it?
Oh, no, it's actually got a little poem on it. It does the cow that jumped over the moon poem.
Oh
That's
yeah,
written around the side.
the little dog laughed to see such fun, and the cow jumped over the moon. Is it that?
I'm sure he did. That's the one. Yeah, that. And it goes around the little churn, silver. It's in a little box, and it's got my name engraved on it. But and even though that is huge sentimental value, if I'm honest, God, that sounds awful. Don't judge me, please, people. But it is sat in a box because I've got nowhere to really sort of put it. and it's been in a box for many, many years. Do you know what I'm sort of saying?
Yeah, I do. And that's another odd thing about some belongings, that you have them. Oh, God, I've got a good story about this. You have them because there's something behind them and you don't feel you can get rid of it, but actually you don't actually need it or want it. And I, years and years ago, a woman that I don't know anymore, she was a friend of a friend, and she lent me this beret for a show that I was in, and it was a black beret. And she said, I should have known when I took it, she said, she was estranged from her dad, but finally later on in life, later on in his life, she met up with him again. And she had this hat from him, but I think he then died. But it was the only thing she had that was of her father.
Ah.
I still have that hat. I still have that hat, and I feel guilty about it. I can't throw it away. I will never see her again. I have no idea where she is. I'm not in contact with the people that I knew her through, but I still have that hat, and I think, oh my God, this is her dead dad's hat.
Yeah, yes.
That meant a lot to her, and I've got it because I wore it in a play that I did somewhere. It's really weird, isn't it? And I can't get rid of it. No. But actually, I would get rid of that if, like you say, it's like if we did an honest declutter.
Honest declutter. Yeah.
An honest declutter.
Yes.
If you put all your stuff out and I went, well, you don't need that churn. And you'd be going, no, but my gran gave it. And you go, oh, you don't need that hat. And I was like, no, but it belongs to that girl's dead dad.
Right. So actually what you're saying is, if we want to declutter, what we should do is not do it ourselves to an extent. Yes.
Yeah, to an extent, someone else needs to. That's why those programs are so great. The one that Stacey Solomon does, where they go in, and of course, it ends up being more than just clearing the house. It's about the things they're holding on to and why they're holding on to them. Yeah. And there used to be one of the original ones was called Life Laundry. Oh. And it was kind of before there were all these TV programs. Yeah. So it was quite unusual. And there was always some terrible trauma attached to why people were holding on to things. Right. But actually, when people came in, they were sensitive to it. But once they had got rid of some things, or they realigned things. Because I think that was something really interesting you were saying earlier about you have to balance the positive with the negative. And actually, how do we realign things so we can accept the negative of something but still move forward positively? Yeah. And so maybe sometimes it's about going, okay, I have this girl's dead dad's hat. Maybe I use it, or maybe I give it to someone that I know is going to use it, or
pass
maybe
it on to good.
Pass it on to good.
The trouble is, like you said, to get someone else to come and do it for you is, I think, the way forward, because you would look at that little churn of mine and go, I get it. Let's take some really nice photos. Maybe put those photos in a little frame. In fact, maybe all these lovely little things that mean something to you, you don't actually need them. You either have it as like a little sugar bowl and you actually use it. Get it out of the box and use it. If you're not going to do that, we're going to get rid of it, but we're going to take some photos and we're going to create a really lovely piece of artwork of all the photos of things that mean something to you possibly, and actually move forward with that. Because otherwise, like you say, you've got all this stuff that never ever gets used. And maybe my gran would have preferred for me to have flogged it for a couple £100 and done something really nice with that money.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
There's that, isn't there? You know, all these things we have in parents' houses and things, we go, oh, I think you can make a bit of money if you sold that cutlery set.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? But like it's how we use it. Because like you say, your butter churn is in a box.
Yeah.
Take your butter churn out of the box and do something with it.
Do you know what I'm actually thinking? I'm actually thinking about that now. I'm going to send you a photo of it when I can find it. But you see, things have changed as well, haven't they? Because I remember when I used to work on the cruise ships, and we used to go to some countries where you could buy like a dodgy CD of whatever artist it was, and it'd be sort of 3 for €5. And I used to have a big CD wallet. You remember those back in the day? And it was full of all these CDs. And I remember thinking, that's something I would grab from a fire, because I had so much brilliant music for very cheaply bought. Things like that you keep. Whereas now, obviously, Spotify and things, you don't need to own a single piece. And it's the same with photographs. I've got mine on I think 2 clouds mine are on now. So you don't even need to grab your photo albums anymore, which I think is probably what a lot of people would grab. All those memories are on the cloud. I can access them from anywhere in the world. So I think life's different with regards to those sorts of things, because I think I would have grabbed photo albums, things like that. That's the only thing I would have taken. Videos, VHS tapes, which now have all been transferred onto USB sticks, you know?
So actually, our computers and our phones are important, not just from a technical, practical point of view. They also do contain our memories and information, and so maybe those are the things we need to save now.
Oh my gosh, what are we talking? That's ridiculous, isn't it? Because you're quite right. You're quite right. Honestly, I've got home movies that mean quite a lot to me. I actually posted a video the other day of a New Year's Eve, and my nan is getting made up as a clown. And we watch a lot of old movies sometimes with my mum and dad. And I'd found this video, and for some reason, I'd not watched this section of the tape. And I'm doing my nan's makeup, and she's laughing and she's saying something. I can't quite work out what she's saying, and I'm giggling. And I was about 16, maybe. I haven't seen that since it would have been filmed. Even if I'd watched it then, it was something I've just not seen before. Those sort of videos would be what I would want to take from a fire. That sort of thing I'd want to keep. But like we've just said, that's now, I think I put it on Facebook. I took a little picture of it going, oh, how funny. It's been 13 years since my nan passed. And this is a picture I got from a video. That's already now on my iCloud photos. I filmed it to show my mum and dad, send it to my mum and dad. So it's all out there. So again, you're right. All our technology is probably what I'd want to keep. But that's the sort of last thing you think you would keep.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
Do you know what, though? I think we've talked about this before, actually, where there's something quite cathartic, isn't there, about literally just going whoosh, just away.
Yeah.
Away. And actually, I have had this with part of a bank account or something. I get a free magazine every month, or Bruce does. And I've been getting a sort of rambling magazine and a breathing magazine, whatever, meditation type thing. And do you know what happens? First I got it, I was like, went to bed early, and I was flicking through it, all lovely. And I thought, once a month I'll, make an effort to go to bed early and flick through my magazine. Well, 7 or 8 months later, they're all stacked up in the cellophane, not opened, forgot about them. And I got so much anxiety I think I had like 15 in the end. None of them had been opened. And I thought I must go through them because there's little articles that look interesting. And one day I was opening them all up frantically, scanning through them quickly, as if I was sort of trying to sort of prove to myself that I have looked at them. They're not a waste of time. And I just went, do you know what? No. And I picked them all up and I chucked them in the recycling. Every single one, I just went, boom. Gone, cancelled the subscription, over with. But the amount of times I was like, I will read this month. Oh, it's just arrived. Do you know what? I'm going to make an effort to actually read that. No, goes on the coffee table, goes upstairs, ends up in the recycling.
So that's interesting, that thing of things giving us anxiety because they're things. Because I find that just lots of clutter can... I just make mess very easily.
Yes.
And that thing of just, actually, why do I need all these things? I don't need all these things. They're just adding to adding to an anxiety of my time and what I'm doing. I do a lot of tidying up. I only have a small flat.
Yeah.
I do a lot of moving things from one place to the other.
Yes.
That's why am I moving things all the time? What's that about?
I've just done a big book clutter as well, actually, which is quite interesting why we're talking about this today, because there's a certain book that I absolutely love, and it goes along the way of it was like 1802 and the master of the house has called a meeting and something's happened and it's all salacious and it's all very Downton Abbey. And then it goes cut to 2022 and a young couple looking for a honeymoon venue, and they see this house and they go, oh, this looks lovely. And there's a shadow in the window of a woman and they don't know. And you know, those sort of Victorian type stories, and there's always some kind of big sort of gossipy thing that happens. That is my kind of type of book. Every single time. It's usually got the back of a woman walking into a big stately home. That's my book. And I end up buying a few when I see them going, oh, that looks good. Well, I had about 6 or 7 and I haven't read a book in 2 years, I think, because when I've been traveling with gigs, I listen to them now on Audible, especially a lot of autobiographies and things. So even 2 books I got for Christmas, I ended up downloading them as Audibles and listening to them in the car. So I'm like, why have I got these books? So I just went, gone. Every single book I have, apart from one that I really, really want to read. But again, that'll go soon because I won't get to read it. I just got rid of all of them. So I don't need books. I don't need my shelves to look fancy with loads of books. Gone. Every single one.
So it's very interesting. It's about a kind of honesty of what you need and what you don't need. And we were talking about this earlier about kind of being present, actually, in this moment. Do I need all these things? What do I need in this present moment?
Do you need all these things around you to give you comfort, to make you feel homely? Just things that make you smile? Do we need that around us? Or can we find that within ourselves? We don't need all this around us.
Yeah. Do we need all this around us?
Do we?
But also, does it, going back, oh, you're going to like this, I'm going to loop back, Martin. Going back to this idea of identity, being titled or untitled, having a place, do we need these things to identify us as well? You know, I mean, I know it's quite a kind of teenage thing, but when you do the, you know, what books do you like? What music do you listen to? What TV do you watch? What films do you watch? What clothes do you wear? Yeah, what are the accoutrements that make up you? And sometimes those are things, aren't they?
Just writing down that word, accoutrements. Never heard that before. I think you've actually nailed it on the head, because when we had the whole lockdown, everyone was doing Zooms, and it became a little bit of a thing that everyone was sat in front of a bookshelf, because that kind of creates a certain image of you. And I remember thinking, oh, maybe I can position myself by my bookshelf. And if I had done that, you would have seen all these lovely books. I mean, most of them were Jackie Collins, but you would have seen all these books and gone, oh, look. But it would have been an absolute false representation of who I am, because I haven't read a book in probably 3 years, actually, thinking about the lockdown. So it would have been like, look at me and all my books. But actually, it's completely false.
Yeah, it's giving you an identity that's not actually yours. Or
which is false.
It's giving you a kind of face that you want people to believe.
Yes.
Yeah, which isn't true.
Isn't that interesting?
So are some of the things we have because we feel it identifies us in a certain way. Yeah, I think for some of the time it can be. I think sometimes it's quite good. I think this should definitely be about decluttering. I think we've got decluttering on this. If anybody listening to this today can kind of get a sense of, do you know what? Why don't I have a go? You don't have to do anything major, but even just that one cupboard or that one shelf or that under the bed or whatever it may be, something like we do with clothes. I don't know if you ever do it. Every now and then you go, right, let's get the whole wardrobe out and let's just have a look at what I've got here. Then you suddenly realize you've got 12 t-shirts the same size and some of them have got stains on, but you thought, I'll keep that in case I paint a wall one day and I need a painting t-shirt. I haven't painted a wall for about 20 years.
But I bet you got a t-shirt ready for it.
I have, yeah. And some jogging bottoms.
See, sometimes you just go, do you know what? Let's just get rid. And also just within ourselves as well, in our lovely complicated minds that we have. Again, it's just great to just declutter in the best way we possibly can. Just whatever that is for you. Just have a fresh start, which is why meditation is very good for that.
Yeah, and also, well, no, absolutely, but it does lead to that, and also kind of keeping things simple.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if I've talked to you about this.
Yeah.
But this is very relevant for me and for my sister at the moment, because we recently have been looking into ADHD.
Oh yeah.
And I'm being tested for ADHD, and that's very much about everything getting your brain being really, really busy and not being able to kind of focus. So if there's a lot of background noise, or if there's sometimes when I'm teaching, it's really difficult if people are chatting,
Right.
and I can feel myself going, everyone's got to be quiet because I just can't focus. So for me, that absolute busyness, that's why I do a meditation most mornings now, even though it's short, just to reset that and go, right, what's my focus?
Yeah. Yeah.
And for me, and I know for my sister as well, lists are really good because that just makes me go, yeah, I know there's all this circus going on in my brain, but I just need to do these 3 things. That's all I need to do.
Also, with what we do freelancing, we tend to have a lot of fingers in a lot of pies, and I can get a little bit wound up with so much going on in so many different areas that it all feels quite stressful. And it's not until I meditate with that I go, actually, that's doing that, that's doing that, that's doing that. And it's absolutely fine. A bit like when you schedule your day. Sometimes I've got so much to do today. I get in such a panic that nothing happens and I'm even more panicked. But when I break it down and go 10 to 11, I'm working on that. 11 to 12, I'm working on that. Suddenly I've given myself a 6-hour day, not even a, crazy day until midnight, just by actually, like you say, to-do lists, scheduling. It's amazing what you can sort and what you can get done. But for me, I don't do that unless I meditate. I don't sort of come up with that conclusion naturally. I have to kind of force myself to do it, which is why mindfulness, you do have to work at it. You can't just, you have to put in the time. Like with anything, you have to put in the time to see the benefits.
Yeah, and also it's a bit like, we were talking last time I talked to you about voice work, and voice work is it's kind of incremental. You don't necessarily know it's having an effect on you, and that's what I've been finding about meditation. I don't necessarily come away from it going, oh yippee, yeah, I feel great because I've just done my meditation, but it has had an incremental effect.
Yeah.
And I keep coming back to it because even subconsciously, I know, okay, it's going to be a better day if I clear everything out. It's interesting.
Yeah.
It's interesting that we've come here from the decluttering. We got here.
Yes.
This is what we wanted to talk about. I think that's what meditation is. It is a decluttering, isn't it? It's just a moment of going, I'm just here. I'm just here. One of the meditations I do, which is a nighttime one, is one about leave everything behind from today, leave everything that you're thinking about in the future, and that you're just here. You're just here. And also it's about, you don't have to have responsibility from what happened in the day. You don't have to have responsibility for what's happening. Your job now is just to sleep. Yeah. That's the only thing you have to do. Yeah. And I think that's really great, of just relieving yourself of that responsibility and going, actually, my only job now, the only thing I have to do is sleep and rest.
Sleep, rest, and compassion.
Yeah. And so have compassion for yourself, that actually... that without that, you're not going to be able to do all those things, and you are going to get in a muddle. And especially, if you've got a muddly brain anyway, that lacks focus, that actually sleep is so important and stillness is important. Some being just in the moment and going, I'm just here.
Today has been about decluttering. Physically, mentally, whatever it is for you, declutter. And I'm looking at some books I've got on my shelf, more books, and the notepads that I've been given over the few years. Lovely notepads that you go, oh, I'll keep that for something. They are going to a charity shop this afternoon. Done.
I have 10 notepads on my desk. Empty. I've got hundreds of full notepads. I've got 10 empty notepads.
I'm going to come and declutter. I'm going to come and do your declutter.
No, I need them. I need them. I need to fill them. I need to fill them with my thoughts.
So at least we've got the name of the title, Decluttering with Martin and Jules. We're going to set up a new business now where we come to your house and throw out all the
I would love that job. That would be just such a great job.
Well, listen, let's finish up with our lovely Upgrade Your Day home retreat, which actually, now thinking about it, it's put a new twist on this because there's nothing too sort of physical that I talk about when you have your own home retreat. It's all about experiences. So that's interesting. Let's start it. You'll see what I mean as we go along. So, favourite day of the week?
I quite like a Sunday, and they often seem quite lazy Sundays. They can be lazy.
What's your favourite time on a Sunday?
Early evening.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I've always liked an early evening.
Your favourite place? Where do you like to spend your early evening on a Sunday?
I think I like to be on the beach. So either here or a beach anywhere.
Anybody you'd want to be with, or would you be by yourself?
I think I'd like to be with some friends and my sister and maybe, a kind of group of, nice friends, relaxed friends.
What would you be wearing? What would be your real comfy clothes that you would just...
In some kind of robe, Martin. I'd be in a robe.
In a theatrical robe.
Well, no, these people you might have seen when we were swimming, people have those robes that they wear. I can't remember what they're called now. They've got a name. Sea swimming robes. I've never had one of those. So I used to wear my furry dressing gown on the beach.
Oh, I love that.
Because it was dry robes. They call them dry robes. Well, I've never had one of those, but I've got a really nice furry dressing gown.
Yeah,
so
I'm with you.
In my furry dressing gown.
I'm loving that. And what would you be listening to? What's your favourite genre of music? Or is there a favourite album or a song that you'd be playing?
Well, my favourite singer is Tom Waits. So I might have some of his earlier, more kind of, some of his stuff's quite wild, but some of his earlier, more kind of soft country stuff, I think.
Okay, and what about a scent? If there was a candle you could light, what would that smell be?
Like a kind of musky rose smell.
And what would you be eating? What would you have in front of you that would give you the most pleasure there is to get from food?
Well, I might just be being a bit like, oh yes, look, we were talking about, look at me, this is what I do. I think I'd quite like a really nice salad with avocados, asparagus, some cherry tomatoes.
After I've done my workout.
Olive oil. And then afterwards, a chocolate cake.
Okay, chocolate cake, that's fine. And what about drinking? It can be alcoholic, non-alcoholic. Oh, right.
Well, it is evening. It's early evening. I'm having an avocado salad.
Well, listen to this. So your absolute ideal home retreat on a Sunday, early evening, you'd be on the beach with friends and your sister, wearing your fluffy dressing gown, listening to some Tom Waits, smelling some musky rose, eating salad and chocolate cake, drinking Prosecco.
I think that sounds good.
Yeah.
That sounds quite decadent to me.
And I always say this, but I'll say it again. To be fair, that's something that you could create this Sunday. And that's what's important to remember.
Although it'd be a bit cold.
It was that woman down there on the beach in her dressing gown with that bottle of Prosecco, eating salad. What's she lighting a candle for? She's not right, she ain't.
She's not right.
She's not right. She's not right. But this is the thing. That's what's great about the home retreat. It's doable, and we must remember that.
Thank you. It was so lovely to talk to you.
Lovely to chat to you once again. And I'll see you again in the summer for some sea swimming, early morning sunrise sea swimming.
Are you going to come to Brighton and do some swimming?
Yeah, and I shall put it up on my social media, on my Upgrade Your Day page on Facebook and Instagram. I shall put it on there. I might let people know when we're going to do it. If anyone wants to come and join us, they're more than welcome to come down and join us. And we'll see what happens, shall we?
Yeah, that'd be exciting.
Yeah.
And then we can all wear our dressing gowns and drink some Prosecco. We could do that after. There we go. Sorted.
It's just kind of a complete turnaround. Well, listen, Jules, thank you so much. Lovely to speak to you again. And I will see you very, very soon. The summer's coming. Bye. So that was the lovely Jules from Brighton. I hope you enjoy listening to that. And listen, if you can upgrade your day by doing a little bit of a declutter, it could do some marvellous things for your anxiety or for your mindfulness. So have a little mindful declutter. As always, you can find out all my information at www.upgradeyourday.co.uk, and feel free to follow me on socials, Facebook, Instagram at Upgrade Your Day. Thank you so much for your messages as always, and I will see you next time. Take care.